The time has come for us to put things right, knowing that we have a life before every election that holds in Nigeria, and even after every election, we have a life. This is the reason why we, as members of the Civil Society Committee for Anti-Fraud Election Security, CSOs, have considered it necessary to raise an alarm because of what the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, is doing by using insecurity and security tensions as his own tools of political intimidation, driven by his own desperate desire to impose a successor of his own choice on the state and people of Ebonyi. Precisely 3 weeks ago, I got attacked in Ebonyi State by the militia he recruited. He named Ebubeago, which has terrorized and harassed the hell out of the people of Ebonyi State. They attacked my hotel at about 9 p.m. with knives, cutlasses, and pump-action rifles, telling me that the governor of Ebonyi State did not want someone like me in Ebonyi State, a man of my kind, of my type, who was on a humanitarian mission to make peace, just because he had already nurtured that habit of intimidating his own people by using the Ebubeago militias. Shortly after that, we did a press conference in Enugu to counter his antics. Those habits of his that were very inimical to credible election or electoral process, we tried to counter. The man still hasn't stopped even after that press conference. Right now, this is the point we want to make known to the Nigerian state, to the Nigerian nation, and the Nigerian people, that as we speak, the governor of Ebonyi State has recruited armed political militias from Kogi State in connivance with his own Kogi counterpart, who is notorious for such act, Yaya Bello. They have also hired some from the neighboring Niger Delta states. And what we know that they have been alleged to be doing now is to impersonate men of the forces. These people, they use government vehicles that are unmarked, but they are militants. Today, people in Ebonyi are intimidated. Umahi is driven by his own desire to ensure that by hook or by crook, he rings the election to favor himself and the candidate that he has chosen. And we are saying no. This is why we are calling right now on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to look into Ebonyi State critically. We are also calling on the Inspector General of Police to look into Ebonyi State critically. Then as well as the National Security Advisor to look into that state critically so that we could all make concerted effort to stop Umahi from doing or going ahead with what he's already doing. Because if it's not stopped, we're going to have something worse than we expected. Because after he might have used all the powers within him to rig the election, then what happens to those ammunitions and arms and those weapons he has left in the hands of the wrong people? Will he, as a senator, return to Abuja while he becomes the emperor of the government of Ebonyi State, and then the same act of gangsterism continues? What happened? And if we are not careful, the worst species of terrorism might just come out of that Ebonyi State. This is why we need to stop him. I spoke with the Commissioner of Police deployed to Ebonyi State, CP Undu and Nene this morning. And I told him everything that we know. And they are not ignorant of all of those things as well. We have also I tried to speak with Sunday who is the real commissioner in charge of Ebonyi State Command, he is also not ignorant of what is ongoing. But we are saying they should not compromise anything. We can't have them there. We have about 2 CPs in that state. You have DCPs, you have ACs, you have CSPs, and all of these things are happening, and these men are all over the places, using unmarked vehicles, being funded by the governor, Umahi, to unleash mayhem and intimidation on the people of Ebonyi State just because of his desperation to win an election in a way that is undeserving. He said, no, 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 no. If he's not stopped, that state might just be open to anarchy, because other people will not fold their hands and watch him do that. And I'm calling on all Ebonyi people, save and rescue your state right now from the hand of one man. I thank you, and God bless you for listening. You need a mic? Okay. I think I'm responding to you off camera, but I want, do you want to record?
Yes.
Oh, were you recording me?
Yes.
Because it starts now. If I'm saying, ask the question again so that I...
What would you, those guys those persons
It's a very simple thing. I'm a civil society leader, and we are trained not to say things we have no facts to buttress or back up. I just told you I almost got killed there 3 weeks ago. The person who leads the Ebubiago militias, his name is Stanley Okoro Emega. That same man had met with me in this hotel. We had a meeting here in this same hotel like 2 months ago. I have huge influence in the whole of that region. He had wanted someone like me to support who he is supporting. He is the state chairman of APC in that Ebonyi state and the leader of the Ebubiago militias. Look, if it gets to where you have to play CCTV, you will see where he was ranting and boasting that he had killed a lot of people in Ebonyi State. He told me, look, if not for your influence and the fact that you are popular and the fact that hurting you will create troubles for us, that they have a way they kill people, that they would have come to my place late at night and take me away and frame me up, and they will keep me somewhere. Well, I will be tortured for like one week. Then they will decide whether to leave the person alive or kill the person. So I don't say what I don't know. I had written a petition against him. The IG had approved the same petition, and he's not even supposed to be walking freely. But while he's still walking freely, the commissioner of police has to explain that. These people have compromised, and if the commissioner of police is not taking any drastic action between now and Saturday, I will personally have to take up a case against him with the Police Service Commission. How? Why would you have 2 CPs? These people are known. They are not people you look for. Even the police people are afraid of them. Who are they? They used unmarked vehicle. You know how those people live? Like prestigious people. The fear of these militias, Ebubiago militias, Umahi's people, they are his killers, his trigger pullers, his assassins. And the man will come and sweet talk people into confusion just because you want to be the emperor of that state. You have done 8 years, and you have chosen to impose your own candidate on the people against their will and their wish. And what you are doing now is to use force to get that done. So, my brother, we have more than enough proof, more than enough evidence. And I can tell you, can you hear me? Those within the security sector are aware of this, that the level of insecurity in Ebonyi State today is second to none in the whole of the entire Southeast. That used to be one of the most safest states, one of the most safe, rather, or one of the safest states within that region. They are everywhere. The tension is all over the place. People are afraid to come out and campaign for other people. What for? Power? Don't forget, terrorism started like this in faraway Borno. Now, the man who has less than 90 days to go ran for Senate. Though he's having issues now because of similar problems like I've explained before. So it is not something you ask, how do you know, or how are you sure? It's all over. It's like you asking me, how am I sure you are a man?
Let me add to that. You first of all answered as regards you having evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you stated something about him.
Of fact, as I speak with you, you have militants from Kogi State and from some neighboring Niger Delta states hired and brought into Ebonyi State by Umahi for the purpose of political intimidation ahead of the election scheduled for Saturday. I'm making this press conference for the IG and the National Security Advisor to go into this matter and investigate this which we have just alleged. It's a very simple thing. We are giving a first-hand information, right? Because when you came into this press room, you knew how many of us were here. AIT came, Channels came, Captain Television came. Now Arise joined us. You could tell that Arise has joined us because you are having the eye blame here. Let them just get into Ebonyi. They will see that you have aliens in Ebonyi State hired for that same purpose. And even the security agencies, they are aware of it.
Okay, what will be the implication of this on the Saturday election?
Of course, the implication.
And having explained this and call names as regards this insecurity or threats to life, as you put it, your discussion with the Commissioner of Police, do you see any reactive measure being taken by the Commissioner of Police to address that situation before Saturday?
Well, they have two CPs there now. The CP in charge of the state command, the one they call Sunday, has been evasive and elusive on the phone. The other CP deployed for election security, the one they call Undu Anene, has been very disposed to picking calls. That one spoke with me for like 25 minutes today. When I shared some of these things to him, from his responses, I could sense that he is already aware that these things exist there. And he actually looks forward to collaborating with our network of CSOs to ensure that we are able to mitigate this risk of insecurity that the government or the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, really want to impose on the people. But the one I don't trust is the one in charge of the state. The same one who is supposed to have arrested the state chairman of the APC, right? Because I told you after the attack on me, I wrote to the IG, and I was told that they were traced from Alagbo to Ebonyi State. This state commissioner shielded them and said because it was the day of election that they needed to go to the area commander. They went to the area command, invited these people according to what I later got to know, but they were told that this man came with so many thugs, so they couldn't arrest him because they were afraid of those thugs, right? He was then met to report 2 or 3 days after the election, and he didn't do that. So when he got delayed, I raised an issue again, then the IG, I can present to you the approval from the IG, asking this state commissioner to treat that matter, which is to at least pick them up. But this very CP did not do anything about it. I have been trying to reach him since yesterday. Only today he called me back when he was at a function. He was to call back and he didn't call back. Maybe he thinks he's just playing with one man on the road. We have a way of taking this man up, the CP himself, because I could see an act of compromise in him. Maybe he has been induced or financially gratified. But whatever be the case, he has a case to answer. whether he is to shoot criminals or people who are assailant, or he was sent there to protect the ordinary Nigerians, the Ebonyans, then he has a case to answer. His own case, we shall push it to the Police Service Commission. If a police officer of his own level, being a CP, does not know what it means to address cases that deserve critical, rapid response, then I think they should do something to his rank or his own status as a police officer. I'm going to call him after this press conference, but he has a case to answer. These people, with the retinue of police officers that we have being deployed to Ebonyi State, how come all these people, they still gain dominance over the nook and crannies of Ebonyi State? It's a thing that they need to understand, they need to explain to us. Election finishes in a matter of 5 days' time. What happens to the knives, the axes, the guns, the pump-action rifles? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So if the CP cannot explain why those people are still there shooting, terrorizing the neighborhood and the environs of Ebonyi State, just because the governor wants to intimidate the people and cow them up, if they are allowed to continue to do that, then tell me the essence of the police force and what presence, what difference or impact has their own presence, been able to effect, on Ebonyi State.
Okay,
Ebubeagụ was never created to provide civil protection. If you want, we only have one of such security outfits in Nigeria, Moteku. You see what they do. You see it on TV. You are media men. They arrest criminals, right? They dislodge them. They protect the citizens, the indigents, right? When Umahi was, I think he's still, as the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, he created, alongside other governors, Ebubeagụ. The same man disbanded that Ebubeagụ, proscribed that Ebubeagụ from being a regional security outfit. Then Cornely, he took it home to Ebonyi State and illegally used that same name to drive his own political thuggery network. So they became a militia group. So he stopped it, he proscribed it at the regional level, he cornered it to his own state for his own personal use and benefits, and then translated them into a militia group. He armed them with knives, axes, guns, and then pump-action rifles. These people used unmarked buses. They used unmarked buses. And you know how they live? People know them as the governor's thugs. Ebubeagụ, the fear of Ebubeagụ in Ebonyi State is the beginning of wisdom, the beginning of common sense. So it was never created to exist as a regional security network. The primary responsibility of any state or government is the welfare and security of the citizens. When you now run a personal security group that is anti-people and not pro-people, what do you call that? So he is a supreme leader. That is a Umahi for you. If you don't do it his way, you go out. Check when he left the PDP. If you didn't cross with him, he fires you, and that you go down. So those who were not ready to follow his own dictatorial way of doing things, they had to resign on their own, voluntarily. He is not a leader who is democratic. The same thing he wants to keep, because he knows that the people are tired of his own dictatorial, governance, and they won't waste any time removing him from that place. So he has cultivated the habit of making himself the emperor of Ebonyi State, the supreme leader and the supreme dictator of Ebonyi State. And the people also have the right, as you can see right now, they have the right to choose who they have. You see, incumbent governors couldn't return to the Senate. His own, he still maneuvered his way because he didn't win those elections. We went there to monitor. We sent people there to monitor. And that is why his own claimed victory is even at fault now and shaking. At the same time, he knows Saturday may hold nothing good for him and the candidate he has imposed on the people. So what is he doing? That is why he's going out of his way to use what he's best known for, the force of intimidation, to want to cow up the people and force his will into victory. And nowhere we don't cover. Now let me say this to you. The last election we did, when I was attacked, I was on a special mission, a mission to restore peace and stability in the entire Southeast region ahead of the 2023 presidential election. That is the one we did last Saturday. As you can see, it was relatively peaceful. We stabilized peace. We worked with churches, traditional institutions, NGOs, and CSOs. We worked with communities. We made people realize that, look, their life had existed before every and any election. And elections will come and go, they stay. So whatever security tensions they are allowed to exist before the election, they will live with it. So we did all of those things. That was the same thing that took me to Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State, for your information, used to be a state I love so much. I usually bring Americans and Europeans to Ebonyi State. I'm a grant expert. I do social interventions for governments. We are different from other NGOs you see. We are NGOs who believe in social enterprise. Ebonyi is one of those states we really want to bring a lot of our people, to bring intervention funds that could help a lot of other NGOs and families to go into agriculture. As a professional, a grant expert, if you look at the NGO map for social intervention in the whole of the Southeast, Ebonyi is #1 state regarded as the safest state, then followed relatively by Enugu. So I have been in and out. This Umahi had hosted me several times in his hotel and in his house. I know him. I even know the man that he's bringing out to be his successor. I told you that the leader of this Ebubago had met with me in this same hotel 2 months ago, because we are not politicians, but at the same time, we have our cards. Like I voted. Oh, Atiku, Obi, Tinubu. Yes, we have families. We use markets. We pay school fees. We know the electricity situation. So not being partisan does not kill your common sense. You must be able to know who you should cast your vote for and who you should also encourage other people, not openly though, to cast their votes for. Is that clear? Now, Ebonyi has been like a second home to me. I know a lot of families in Ebonyi State, the Igariwes, the Obuewus. We are talking about former PG, President General of the Organization, Idigbo, and the former minister. I know a lot of people. I come in there, in and out. Are you following me? And I told you that this same governor is not somebody I knew from the internet. I knew him personally. He had hosted me in his house and in his hotel. Most times, when I bring the Americans, twice, he had hosted us. But things went bad when the democratic nature of someone, for the sake of power, is dragging him to do what he shouldn't be doing. Today, that same Ebonyi that used to be the most safe state, that is the safest state, is now the most turbulent state, the most insecure state, the most unsafe state today in the whole of the Southeast is Ebonyi State. Everyone and everybody in Ebonyi State who can read, write, watch the television, surf the internet is aware of that fact. Security agencies are aware. Go to the office of the NSA, they will know that. Go to the office of the Inspector General of Police, they will know. This same thing I'm saying, other people, not quite long ago, the Labour Party people were harassed by this same governor. They had to write to the IG. Are you aware the ABGA gubernatorial candidate for Ebonyi State was shot 2 weeks ago? Was shot 2 weeks ago. The PDP man, several times, his own campaign trail will be attacked. Everybody knows where those things are coming from. Are you following what I'm trying to say? So now, that region that was turbulent When Anambra was turbulent in 2021, I went there for 1 year. We walked all through to stabilize peace there. Are you following me? We had expected that Anambra would be where all of these crises will be coming from. But good enough, Anambra people, they responded to instructions, and they actually had got to know that as business people, they don't need instability. Anything tension will kill their businesses. If they have to go to Hong Kong to bring items and nobody comes from the neighboring states to buy, they will go bankrupt. Those people maintained. Ebonyi that has no reason to be turbulent because of this political ambition of one man. What is bringing about this is that Umahi wants to.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.